There we are.
Good
Good morning.
morning. This is now Bridge to a Better World. That's the name of this show. And I'm Teresa Mitchell.
And I'm Ani.
And we're here to talk about some pretty exciting things that have been going on over the last, 10 days, maybe.
Yeah.
Amazing things, astonishing things, but opportunities for us. And I want to start off. Really, the first thing I want to talk about is Kamala. Kamala.
Right. So the thing happened. And whether or not, I had finally come around to the side of, y'all are right. And Joe should stay in the race, even if I thought that, we could do better. Then suddenly there it was. There was the pass off, there was the torch handoff, there was the way really things needed to happen with Joe saying, "You're right, maybe democracy and the preservation thereof is more important than him himself staying in the race." So
I am
Kamala.
so glad to be wrong about this, about passing it off to Kamala. I mean, I didn't even think that Joe would have the guts to do that. I thought that he would, fight. And so I was like, okay, fight for those labor things that you're doing with Bernie Sanders, which I'm still concerned about. But he turned out to be a great man indeed. And he did resign. And best thing he's done. And I count standing with the union historically. It's never been done before, standing with the union strikers on the picket line, not against them, but with them.
No, and seriously, Biden's presidency has been far better than I'd ever hoped for. And I appreciate many of the things he has done, and I appreciate him stepping down now that it's fairly clear that he's not able to continue. Stepping down as candidate, not as president.
Right.
Just to clarify.
Right. And I just couldn't be happier to be wrong about that. So it's like, I'll go forward. Hurrah, I was wrong. And we thought that after, Trump got his ear boo-boo, we thought that was all we were going to talk about. And I'm sure that's what he thought too. But it hasn't turned out that way. So as I've been saying, and as we've been saying, the curious nature of the Trump ear boo-boo has been getting curiouser and curiouser. The FBI has admitted before Congress, not in so many words, that it's very odd that a bullet supposedly passed close enough to Trump's ear to rip it, but not close enough to produce the concussion and or temporary deafness that physically must occur when a supersonic envelope presses that close enough to tear flesh. Nor can the FBI find the bullet, and this is the weird part. They can't find the bullet that did it. I mean, the idea that the FBI can't find a bullet impact when they know the trajectory from the Republican chump that shot it to the bleachers behind beggars belief. In fact, it is not possible. So what really happened this week is that when the FBI testified in such vague terms is that they are saying that Trump faked it. And they're saying it in not so many words. So here we have this.
And they're saying it to the committee that Jim Jordan is presiding over.
Yeah.
Which, Jordan really did not want to see or hear any of that.
Yeah. The bullet passed close enough to the ear to rip it, but not close enough to cause a concussion or deafness. And we can't find where it hit. Bullshit.
And Trump, who is absolutely trumping this, and really milking it for all it's worth. It was divine intervention. God wants him to run that flag. It looked like an angel, speaking to people.
An angel moved the bullet.
Yeah. I mean, it was an amazing angel that instead had it shoot his follower, because that's what angels do. Like none of that, right? None of that. And yet, where was he even going? Oh, I know. And yet he refuses to release his medical reports from to the public. And I get it. I don't want to necessarily release my medical reports publicly, but then again, I'm not a presidential candidate having an ear boo-boo that I'm trying to milk for divine intervention when things are just maybe a little hinky. We'll say hinky.
Yeah. So my theory at this point is that the shooter chump was a patsy who was told to shoot at the crowd behind Trump. He had practiced for years. We hear talk that he is a lousy shot. No, he had years to practice. He's a very good shot, had a very good gun. It shot where he wanted it to shoot. So either that, or they wanted him to take out Trump because Project 2025 doesn't want to risk, Trump losing on because he's so unpopular. Either way, it's not as it appears.
Convicted felon.
I know. And then just amazingly, that's just not as important right now as Kamala Harris' popularity and how well she has come out fighting.
And and I gotta say, yes, in fact, John, I'm absolutely agreeing. An amazing strategic move at exactly the right time. That was exactly what was needed. Excuse me. The cards that I drew a couple weeks ago talked about the need to unify. And at the time, I was like, oh, unifying around Biden isn't exciting me. But if that's what the cards say, unifying is what they're saying, unify. Yeah, no, that actually unifying around Biden wasn't working. What we needed to do, in fact, was this wonderful strategic maneuver. And now we are actually infused with a real enthusiasm, I would say, in the Democratic Party. The first time I have felt that
since Barack 28, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, carry on.
Okay.
I am excited that there is an excitement in the land.
Oh yeah, I mean the possibilities, you can just feel them, and as I was saying, I haven't felt this since Barack. And it has amazing knock-on effects. Like I just heard this morning on Democracy Now! That there's been a decision of major national unions to support what will be the first national general strike on May Day 2028. Wow, I'm going to see the general strike. I'm going to live that long.
Or they actually we actually live in a country more dedicated to worker progress than we have in the past. I mean, it's not like it's like if our demands are not, if we do not move in the direction of unions and pro-labor, then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe we could be hopeful enough to say, maybe we can just move the needle that far to the left. I mean.
Well, my old anarcho-syndicalist heart just thumps mighty hard with the idea of a general strike. Anyway, arrayed against us is a formidable and experienced propaganda and terror state, and they intend to clamp things down November 5th so that we can't significantly vote ever again. It's going to be a hell of a fight. And what you need to know is this website, gregpalast.com. Greg, P-A-L-A-S-T.com. It's Greg with G-R-E-G. So it's G-R-E-G-P-A-L-A-S-T.com, gregpalast.com. In 2022, he writes.
He just said his name about as often as he does.
I know. Well, it works. 88 self-appointed GOP vote fraud hunters challenged 180,000 voters' registrations in Georgia. They successfully removed thousands of voters from the rolls in the state. And what you need to know about this is they don't find vote fraud. No one's been arrested and charged as a result of their efforts. They have knocked thousands and thousands of people off the rolls because they know that if you can't vote, Republicans can win. The group behind the attack on U.S. citizens, True the Vote, gloried in their success in Georgia, and they've rolled out the vote challenge operation to several swing states. And are you ready for the numbers? They signed up 44,000 volunteer vigilante vote challengers so far this year. They had 88. They wiped out thousands. Now they got 44,000. You see where I'm going with this. We got from 88 vigilantes in one state to 44,000 challengers in dozens of states. That number, 44,000, should ring a bell at Hamsty to be Biden's margin of victory in 2020. Therefore, if each vigilante can wipe at least one voter off the rolls in a swing state, there goes the election. And they don't wipe off one at a time. They wipe off thousands at a time. They come to the Secretary of State's office with this challenge list. And this was meant to challenge one at a time people who, were not eligible to vote. It's being misused in a huge, huge way because their test worked. Anyway, and some of these vigilantes challenged thousands of votes in a single county. While True the Vote has already signed up 44,000 vote challengers, they are not alone. Trump's lawyer, Cleta Mitchell, is using a system called Eagle AI that has already challenged 10,000 voters in Florida, and now they are preparing to attack in swing states. Look out, Pennsylvania. Vigilantes have already challenged 16,000 in Pittsburgh. That's gregpalace.com. And I'm already seeing on social media people saying, hey, I checked my registration and it had been changed. It had been challenged. It was off. This is what they're doing. They're doing it right now. You need to check your vote now. Make sure you're still registered to vote. And you need to check it in October with enough time to re-register.
Oh, heck, check it weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes just a couple moments on your county website. Check your voter registration status, because they are up to dirty tricks, because they know that dirty tricks is really all they have going for them as they attempt to unloose a new fascism on the land.
Blank County, whatever your county is, Blank County Registrar is what you need to find on the web. Also remember that DeJoy is still, I think it's Louis DeJoy, is still in charge of the USPS after sabotaging the mail-in vote in a failed attempt to prevent the popular removal of Donald Trump in 2020. He literally scrapped entire building-size automatic mail sorting machines in major mail hubs to slow the mail. The mail is still slower because of his efforts. He owns major stock in FedEx, and he hates democracy with a passion. He's still running the USPS. Huge mistake. He should have been dragged out of there kicking and screaming. But Trump militias plan to intimidate and terrorize women, people of color, and queers away from the polls on and before November 5th simply by standing nearby with their trucks and rifles. We need a plan to quietly take these people down. No, the police will not help. All the major police unions have endorsed Trump. They're going to drag their feet on this. They're just not going to show up. It's up to us. We're going to have to go, maybe give them the old asylum hug, different kind of asylum, the one Trump thinks is true.
What are you?
I'm talking about how you grab someone's arms if you're larger than them and someone else takes the guns away. Anyway, the general idea.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend that we start practice, but
there are people who know how to do this.
Yes.
Anyway, the general idea is to create such chaos and confusion that the election can be thrown per the standing law of the Constitution back to the several state legislatures, which, as you may remember, were bought out by Koch and Leo and other reactionary billionaires for just such an occasion. A majority of the state legislatures are pro-Trump now. So if they manage to get the shooting started and frighten people, and if they can make a stinking claim that, we just can't get the votes in time, then it goes to the state legislatures, or it goes to the Supreme Court, which we probably could get to the legislatures. In any event, it goes to Trump. This is why they're so goddamn smug right now, because they plan to win whether the popular vote, whether the electoral vote puts them in or not. So we have our work cut out in front of us. We know how they're going to thwart the will of the people. We have to thwart their thwarting. gregpalace.com. So that's what I've got to say this week. We got a lot of work to do, but it's just so exciting to see people getting fired up and to see that blue wave forming up that is absolutely, I hope, going to wipe out Republican influence permanently in Congress. If we get over that margin, it's like we have to get over the margin it can't be a close election is what I'm saying. If it's a close election, they'll take power and keep it forever.
All right. So I want to remind you, you are watching. This is now Bridge to a Better World.
Better.
I'm Ani.
I'm Teresa.
And here we are with you every Friday morning live on the YouTube in a streaming kind of way. Please do subscribe to our channel if you have not yet. Please share this around with friends and family. And of course, also hit the notification bell, and the like button. That's the other thing. Hit the like button if you could. And
comments copiously. I love the comments.
Yeah, and thank you so much also for your comments after when you're watching it on Team Replay. We appreciate you whenever you watch this. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We can do this.
We need to do this, right? And again, it's that excitement in the land. I'm going to point out that Kamala made a speech after the meeting she had with Netanyahu, the war criminal who visited Washington. Now, I want to, first of all, give all thanks and all accolades to Rashida Tlaib, who sat through that war criminal's speech to Congress with a sign that said war criminal. And
that was very brave.
It was very, very brave. And I thank her for doing that. I also am encouraged, really encouraged, that Harris came out of that talk with her personal meeting with Netanyahu by giving a lot of recognition to the suffering of the Palestinians, where she stated firmly that there have been far too many Palestinian casualties and that this sort of thing has to stop. She has talked a really good game around that. She has talked about pushing the ceasefire agreement, and she used words that I had not heard from Biden. She was much, much stronger in her speech around getting the genocide to stop. And I have a little more hope from that. She at least is talking a really good game. Perhaps she recognizes that she will absolutely need the enthusiastic support of the younger people in the party, of the folks who have been making great noise at the protests nationwide around stopping this genocide. Perhaps she understands the need to actually win their favor to win this election. Whatever is motivating her, I'm personally just damn glad to hear Kamala Harris say that these horrific acts of war have to be stopped.
Me too, because she needs an overwhelming mandate to be able to put the brakes on the imperial war state. As far as they're concerned, Israel's genocide's off the agenda. They don't care. Whatever Israel does, they'll give them arms for it. If they want to genocide the Palestinians, they're just fine with it.
Well, and that's why I was excited to hear Kamala's response to the public after she had a private meeting with Netanyahu.
It's an exciting time.
So I would say that this is absolutely the time to push. This is absolutely the time to try to push the Democrats hard to at least the center. At least if we can just get back to the center, that would be great. I would love to see us actually push left. And with the massive support of labor and environmentalists, and if we could, in fact, engage those that are everyone, right? If we could engage everyone who should be concerned about the genocide in Palestine, then we have an extremely broad-based coalition that can push us to victory. We have to have, in fact, a victory in November. We have to stop victory. And we the fascist takeover.
That's the wonderful thing. We may have a huge victory if we all work like mad from now till November.
Absolutely. And so thank you again for joining us this morning. We're going to go ahead and pivot to the weekly tarot. And so what we have is actually pretty hopeful. We have the Two of Cups. We have the Three of Cups. Mm-hmm. And we have the Two of Swords inverted.
Yow.
And so what does this all mean? Well, might you ask? The Two of Cups is really around developing partnership. It's around developing partnership with a solid feel, right? It's a partnership that is developed really not necessarily because of strategy, not really because of practical considerations, but because we are genuinely feeling it. We are excited about it. We have feelings of happiness, love, and support around it. And so this is around developing partnerships and strong relationships.
Let's twine tails.
Let's twine tails, indeed. Oh, we'll get to that one. Then we have, of course, the Three of Cups. Three of Cups talks about coming together in a way that creates abundance of heart and feeling, that also creates an abundance of power. Really, it's an empowered card that talks about the union of people of similar hearts and minds coming together, creating something bigger than the sum of its parts. It's about synergy. It's about working together. And again, keeping close consideration on our feels, letting our feels kind of guide us at this time. Yep. There you are. And finally, we have the Two of Swords inverted. Two of Swords inverted. The Two of Swords talks about the need for sharp analysis. Inverted talks about feeling a little stuck, not really able to think around corners. If you think about, a cat that has been hard at play who is suddenly not able to get their murder mitten out of the curtain or sheet or screen door that they are currently stuck in. It takes a little act of faith. It takes the moment to actually retract the claw before you can move forward again. And so this is actually calling for keen analysis. And if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling out of step, if you're feeling like you can't quite understand what's going on yet, it asks that you shift your perspective. That stuck feeling is because you're not quite thinking around the corner. You're still maybe stuck inside a box. And so this talks about really pushing yourself to consider things from others' perspectives, to try to unstick your own thoughts and analysis so that you can, in fact, think for a better, clearer solution in how you're going to engage. Okay, so I see really nothing but excitement. I see great partnerships. I see abundance and synergy. And I see that, it's hard. It's hard to wrap our heads around times of change when the change happens fast. But it's time to, in fact, wrap our heads around the change.
Because it's good change. It's big change.
It's a good change. It's a big change. I've got misgivings about mainstream Democrats. I've got misgivings about the establishment as a, I just turned 58. And since I was 12, I've been writing about anarchist utopias. I have some doubts around putting all of my enthusiasm behind the establishment and the Democrats. And yet, at this moment of history, I'm doing so. I am doing so because I see that as our best opportunity to really move the needle a little to the center, maybe even a little to the left of center, to shift those goalposts back a little to the left. They've been moved to the right so hard, so long since the Reagan era. It is time to reclaim our passion for liberty and justice for all, right? To not leave any of our communities in the margins, to bring us all forward in a glorious democracy. Let's just call it that. So that's what the cards say. Moving forward together with some excitement. This is the time to push and push hard for a Democratic win and to push the Democrats to the left.
Right on.
All right. And with that, please do tune in again next Friday morning. Hit the notification bell because you never know. We keep talking about the possibility of doing this sometime even beyond Friday mornings. And I could say with the rate of things happening and the amount of push we have to express what we see, that very well might happen. So hit that notification bell, hit the like button, thumbs up us, would you? And we'll see you again next week.
Thanks for twining your tails with us. Our love goes out to you and to all the ships at sea. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
That's the love going out.